I've been waiting a long time to make this video. I just haven't had any time, but that ends today. Pretty excited about it. This is actually going to be a pretty long video. There's a lot of things I want to talk about because this has been my main build this season. Well, for a while now. I love it. I absolutely love it. I've made multiple tweaks to it, and I settled on what I'm going to show you today. And what's nice about what I'm showing you is that you can tweak it and make it yours. And you know, if you're playing Destiny right now, have some fun with this. I use it solo a ton, but it's extremely good for team play. It's ideal for team play. I did a lot of LFG for Nezarec, and I wanted the bow from Spire the Watcher. It's the featured dungeon this week. There's a lot of gameplay of that in here. And with that, it's just random situations with random people, various teams. I mean, there were Hunter Nighthawks, a lot of different loadouts, and this build is both ways. A ton of damage for a damage phase, and it also has a lot of regular play. And I was the highest damage consistently. I never got out damaged. So the build, zero issues. It holds up. Now it is LFG, and it's not like everyone wasn't trying for DPS. There were some times I had 5.2 million, the next is 1.7. But there wasn't that wide of a gap all the time. But I noticed I never got out damaged the whole time I was LFG farming, and I did it a ton. And that's one of the last things I wanted to do, to go to a random situation. And on the damage front, counting what you can do in regular activities, it's very good. And even better, there are multiple ways to use it, moment-to-moment use cases. Different things you can do, small changes, and you get a different outcome. So there's a ton to talk about, something I want you to try, and it's also kind of a self-sustaining build. I'll talk about that as I go on. But before we get into it, a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, and you can dig into their biggest menu yet with over 100 weekly menu and market items that suit any healthy lifestyle. And as the seasons change, so do their seasonal menus, which highlight peak ingredients and flavors of every season, and yes, including pumpkin spice. I love HelloFresh, I always have, especially now I'm watching what I eat with all the surgeries I've had recently. For each recipe, you can see the calories, sugars, cholesterols, all of it. And especially during busy weeknights, I value the quick and easy recipes, and best of all, it's flexible. Everything is customizable to you. Your plans change, your life gets busy, school's starting, holidays are coming. HelloFresh has your back. You can easily customize your delivery from week to week, mix and match lifestyle options to suit your needs like fit and wholesome, family friendly, quick and easy, vegetarian, and more. You can adjust delivery dates and even skip a week when you're not able to cook at home that week. They have a great deal for us. Breakfast, it's my favorite meal of the day, and yes, they have that too. They're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. And there's more to it. Click the link at the top of the description or use my code CoolGuy10 and get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. And that's one free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active if you're in the US. Outside the US, the local discount will apply. Again, that's CoolGuy10, and thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. This build is centered around an exotic that you do not see. You don't see it because it was a pre-order bonus for the final shape, Tessellation. But from what I gather, that was just for you to play with it early. And now, if you do own the final shape DLC, and it might be possible that you need the DLC and the annual pass, I'm not sure about that. Let me know down in the comment section. But from what I gather, if you do have the final shape DLC, you can go to the Monument of Lost Light by the vault in the tower, and it should be there. Some of you might not even know that you have it. Tessellation. It's a fusion rifle that changes its damage based on your grenade choice. Final blows grant grenade energy. It's like it has enhanced demo. Property irreducible. You hold reload, you consume that grenade of choice, it loads on a projectile, and it generates an elemental explosion on impact. And importantly, the catalyst. Targets near the blast are afflicted with an elemental effect matching your equipped grenade's type. It's like a mini chain reaction. So Arc will apply blind to the surrounding area. Solar will apply scorch to the surrounding area. Stasis will apply slow to the surrounding area. Strand's going to apply Sever to the surrounding area, and then Void will apply Weaken to the surrounding area. We're going to be on Prismatic Warlock. For the aspects, Feed the Void and Bleak Watcher. Bleak Watcher can be switched for the Helion too. It's up to you. I mean, any of the others really, but the main important one is Devour. Defeat targets with an ability, get Devour so you get health and grenade energy on kills, the Vortex Grenade, and the Arcane Needle. More on those two in a second. The Super is going to switch between Nova Bomb and Song of Flame. Each one has its situation, and the situation is going to call for which one that you use. I'm going to talk about it as we go on. As far as the fragments, there are 3 that I really like, and the other 2 can be switched based on the situation. Sacrifice. Well, you have a Void buff, Devour. Ability Final Blows grant bonus Darkness energy. This pairs with Devotion. Defeating targets afflicted by Stasis or Strand debuffs grant bonus Light energy. And then Bravery. Grenade Final Blows grant Volatile to Void weapons. Melee Finals grant Unravel to Strand weapons. Now the other 2, and as I go on I'll talk about why I have these 2, Dominance, can be switched. Your Void Grenade weakens targets. I prefer to keep this one on. And then Dawn. Powered melee hits makes you radiant. Powered melee final blows makes you and nearby allies radiant if they're near you. This is pairing with Mataeodoxia. Targets damaged by Arcane Needle emit a suspending detonation when defeated. Larger targets, you can throw 3 straight and suspend them. We're on Prismatic, so the last part's very important. Defeating suspended targets grants melee energy, so you get the Arcane back faster. And Arcane's also great versus Barrier. On Strand, there are other ways to help out with Suspend and Mataeodoxia in general. The biggest one is damaging targets with a Tangle grants melee energy. You don't have that with Prismatic. So without Strand on Prismatic, very important to down everything that you suspend with your weapon. That way you get the most melee energy back. Your pairing weapon is obviously Strand, and there's going to be alternatives. I'm going to talk about those, but the perfect pairing I found is the Better Devils. I talked about this in the review. I love it. It's the main one that I wanted. It's Enhanced Pugilist, Enhanced Frenzy. So 100 reload, 100 handling, 15% more damage. But the main pairing is Enhanced Pugilist with Mataeodoxia on Prismatic. Because again, Mataeodoxia is giving melee energy on suspended kills. Enhanced Pugilist is even extra on top of that. And Frenzy's Frenzy, so it's all helping out. And another good one I recently got, I never had it, is Rufus. I've never had the weapon crafted until this week. Same thing, Enhanced Pugilist, and I have it paired with Paracausal Affinity, so 20% more damage. And this is actually even more cracked because of the artifact. And I'll talk about the artifact as I go on, and Rufus at the end of the video. But other than that, other Pugilist Strand weapons are Kept Confidence, Round Robin, Breachlight, Eminence, and Synchronic Roulette. A regular Strand weapon does work, but Pugilist is what you want to go with. Enhanced Pugilist is ideal. Maybe you have a nice old Sterling, like this one, Rewind, Frenzy. Like that can work, but the combination of Mataeodoxia and with what Prismatic offers is goated. Self-sustaining. You have 3 needles, you throw one out, you get Devour. That's your ability final blow. So health and grenade energy from that point on. More on the nade energy in a moment. You shoot your Strand weapon, it has Unravel, you're spreading Unravel. Hopefully everything you suspended, you downed, and you're getting even extra melee on top of that. Very high uptime on the needles if you pay attention and down everything. And what's nice about Prismatic, like at any given point, you can get yourself Devour, maybe throw a far away Hail Mary Arcane Needle, get Devour if you're in a pinch. It's really, really good. But with this going on your fragments, you have Devour, so ability final blows grant bonus darkness transcendence energy, so throw out Arcane Needles for even more. You're spreading Unravel, that's a Strand debuff, so you get bonus light energy. And you can also throw out Bleak Watcher, that's a stasis debuff, so you get the bonus light energy. This alone does work, it's so good. Tons of ad clear, suspend, Unravel. There's Tangle Explosions and Transcendence Energy within this loop because you pair in one of the best artifacts ever, Threaded Blast. Destroying a Tangle with a Strand weapon creates a larger and more damaging explosion. I have on Radiant Orbs, some auto rifle stuff, but the bread and butter is Expanding Abyss. Void sources deal increased damage to weakened targets. So weakens 15%. The mod makes weaken 25% for void weapons, 35% on big debuffs like Tether. But with Tessellation, let's focus in on that. Let's remember it's a heavy shot. Like right here, it's dealing 129,501 combined. For comparison, a regular Apex rocket shot is 98,329 total, and a bait and switch Apex shot is 127,828. And don't mind the 71,688 right here. That was from a rogue Cabal that came in. But it's more than that, just a little bit. But basically, the Tessellation shot is like a bait and switch rocket shot. So it's very good, quick burst damage. And it's a special weapon on top of that. We're using the Void Grenade. So the target after you hit that heavy shot is weakened. You're going to follow up with Void damage, 25% debuff. The shot alone takes out a ton of yellow bars in the game. Like I said, it's heavy. It's basically a rocket. But if you don't, they're weakened. And weakened even more with Void weapons. My pairing has been an Envious Assassin, bait and switch Edge Transit, but that can change. On Sword Week goes a Falling Guillotine, there's Doom Petitioner. I've used a crafted Red Herring, I don't know if you guys remember that. Enhanced Field Prep for more ammo and Frenzy. It would be even better if someone was running a Gallarhorn, but it mostly is going to be Edge Transit. The loop here on Prismatic Warlock, where I recommend you do, and it does change, as you spawn in, or right when you get it, immediately load in the grenade into Tessellation. It does the animation, it consumes it, you're good. But that grenade can still be generated. So play, throw out Arcane Needles, get Devour going. You have opportunities to throw Bleak Watchers if you want. Basically, you're gonna get doubled up. If you want, you can throw out that Tessellation shot, weaken them, load in another, and hit them with an even bigger shot. Sometimes if you want. And another thing you can do, I said earlier that there's 2 fragments that can be switched around, Dominance and Dawn, and here's why I have them. The Weaken Grenade is an add-in with all of this. It's beneficial to you and your fire team because you can throw out the Tessellation shot, do the damage, weaken them, do damage with your Void Heavy, then when weaken is over, throw the grenade, reapply it. Very easy way to keep up a debuff for you and your fire team. Or you can start with it. Maybe it's a short DPS, or maybe you want to melt something. You throw the grenade first, you weaken, and remember, it's a vortex, so it's going to be ticking. Then you do the Tessellation shot, so that shot's doing even more. Then you go into bait and switch. different ways to use it. And with Dawn, before you go into bait and switch, throw an Arcane Needle. That way you have Radiant on top of that damage. So it's bait and switch while you're Radiant, big weaken debuff. And before I forget, another big part about all this in Tessellation, while you're in Transcendence, the grenade that you load in is a void one. So maybe you don't have your grenade, but you do have Prismatic all the way charged up. That pink grenade's the weaken one. You start throwing out a ton of needles, get kills, and have a ton more grenades to throw out or load into Tessellation. Very, very good. And as far as your super, Nova Bomb or Song of Flame. Nova Bomb with Expanding Abyss is wild. We know that. And it's one of the things that you do want to take advantage of. Even more so if you have the Prismatic class item for it. Like in a lot of those Spire runs, I was running the Star Eater with Osmiomancy Bond. And if you don't have a Star Eater Bond, no problem. Metaidoxia is great. Regular Nova Bomb's great because of Expanding Abyss. But for something like this, like a focused damage phase, like I know we're getting into it, and there's a ton of that in raids and dungeons, wherever you are. No matter what anyone's running, it's something that you can do. And a lot of this, like I said, there were shield throws, there were tethers, Nighthawk, Still Hunts, whatever it was. But I would get the stacks up, throw the weaken grenade in Tessellation, or just throw the Tessellation, hit shots in with all my weapons, so the Nova Bomb, massive damage, and then go to the bait and switch with the Edge Transit. And keeping in mind, another perk on the artifact, Prismatic Transfer. When you cast your super, each member of your fire team with a different super gains bonus to weapon damage. So like, everything that you're doing with this is so good for a fire team. It's so complete. It's great solo or in team play, but there were also times, like when I was doing the Nezrak runs, the team had 2 tethers. It's not a bad choice, even with 2 tethers, to run Nova Bomb and Tessellation, because that just means Tessellation's doing more and Nova Bomb's gonna be doing more, and it isn't relied on me having my Tessellation shot. But since they're weakening, and I can weaken whenever I want with Tessellation, I went with Song of Flame. Allies can stay alive a little bit easier, they regenerate abilities, I get Radiant, everyone wins, I'm still Edge Transit wailing on a weakened target. Like, it all works. So it's one of those, if you have multiple Nova Bombs, great. If there's people that want to run Tether or the Sentinel throw and there's going to be weakened applied, you can do Song of Flame to help keep everybody alive, whatever you want to do. You can add in whatever armor mods you want. As for me, the main things is a Strand Siphon, of course, a couple Void Surges. I have on hands-on and heavy-handed, so those Arcane Needles, which you throw a ton, extra super energy, get an orb every now and again, it's good. But this Tessellation shot with Void and the artifact, Chef's Kiss. It self-churns. Metaidoxia suspend, get Devour kills, Granny Grenade, and melee at that point, while they're suspended. Unravels everywhere, the Tangle explosions are massive, I love it. And again, most mid-yellow bars, it's just one-shots. If not, they're an easy cleanup, especially if someone else is shooting at it. And champions, if you hit them with them originally, they're gonna be weakened, you just stun them and finish them. And Metaidoxia has built-in barriers, so there's a ton you can do. And I didn't talk about it as I'm ending here, but if you have Devour up and just use Tessellation as a regular fusion to get final blows, that's huge too. Because again, Tessellation's pretty much enhanced Demolitionist. So that much nade energy on top of Devour, you get it back very, very fast if you want the grenade to be able to load in and shoot the shot. But I've found, and again, I started doing LFGs, like having that big shot with Weaken is a huge asset to your fire team. And more often than not, regardless if they're running Tether or anything like that in the first place, like it's just good because it's part of a bait and switch loop, or, you know, if you have a Void Rocket. And I imagine this exact loadout on the Witness and other things and other raids, like it's going to be fine. It's fun, it's very powerful, and when Expanding Bits goes away, it's still going to be good. Like you're still going to be doing the same things, you just don't have that extra little bit on top. Same goes with Threaded Blast, like it's still gonna function. But I'm gonna say this, a couple things as far as strand weapons. If you try this out, you're gonna see how much of a big difference having on Pugilist is, and then Enhanced Pugilist. Like a regular strand weapon will do okay, but a massive difference if you have on that perk. But Rufus right now, it has the extra damage on top, it has the DR, it has ammo coming back. Really, really good. But I want to reiterate one more time, if you're using a non-pugilist strand weapon, it is extremely important to final blow every suspended enemy from Metaidoxia. And not with the Tangle, that's not going to work, it has to be with the strand weapon itself. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've been using this build every day for forever. Feels like forever with how these episodes are going. And I've talked about it in previous videos and you've seen glimpses of it, but this is what I'm doing. So check it out, change some things around. There's a dim loadout down below. I have one for the Prismatic class item and the main one for the Metaidoxia. I mean, use different Void Heavies, change some armor mods, some fragments, aspects even. Like the Helion is very good with it too. I love this build. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. And thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me. I don't see anybody using Tessellation. It's not a bad weapon. It's actually an extremely useful tool, especially with how they've laid out the artifact. So give it a shot. I think you're gonna like it. Let's talk about it. Thank you for watching. And until the next one, I am CoolGuy.